All right, you're out in the field with me today. I'm just about to start a job. Got the van here, which is looking fresh. I did record this in the office the other day, but the video didn't work, so that was annoying. And this is all about I guess the 5 key things that are mistakes I've made or things I've overlooked, or I see countless other small service business, particularly exterior cleaning, overlook. I can speak to this with a bit of authority because I've been around for a bit and I've actually taken the time to chat with and try and help a bunch of businesses in our industry. Everyone's got the same issues, and generally it stems back to ignoring some of these 5 key things. So if anything, it might get you thinking. Just to give you an idea of what I'm doing some cleanup of some paving here. I'm on the tools a lot right now in the business because A, we're a little bit short-staffed. B, I'm kind of trying to get our location as profitable as possible in terms of free cash, so I can use it to build another cool thing keep talking about with the whole franchising thing. Anyway, so the first thing I'll talk about is vision. I'm just going to wander around. I'm actually at someone's house, but they're not home, so I just thought it was a nice space. I'll just plonk the phone down in various spots and see if that works. All right, so hopefully this doesn't sound like garbage. I don't have my cool microphone with me today. Got myself a new hat as well. It's pretty big, but I have no hair, so we've got to keep the scone under control. The number one thing that I've seen people make mistakes with or overlook is vision. And that can be a bit of a warm and fuzzy sometimes, but the main driver behind that, or the point I'd like to get to, is what is the point of you being in business? Like, if you're a sole trader or a company or whatever, like, you're in business. So what's the end game for you? There's a lot of people out there just going through the motions or just thinking about the next day rather than what's going to happen next year, next week, or in 3 years. And all going well, you're still on this earth in 3 years. You may as well make it worthwhile, and you may as well shoot towards a goal, whether that's financial or lifestyle or free time or whatever it may be. But if you don't have that in place, you're never going to get there. And that's why, there's times in business for me as well where you've kind of chased the rabbit a little bit day by day or chase the carrot, so to speak, day by day. And I said rabbit because there's a dead rabbit on this property I just found. If you're just chasing the carrot, you're never going to see big picture. So if you're just thinking about what job's coming up the next day, that's a trap. It's a trap. There's that instant gratification of doing a big job and getting paid and all that sort of thing, but then what's happening the next day, the next week, in 3 years? So having a vision for what your business is actually going to look like. Now, that's not, hey, I want to have 3 guys and do this much revenue. That's the vehicle to get to where you want. You've got to think about what your life is. Like, are you building something that is going to replace you and be more of a passive income? There is no passive income in business, but something where you're not directly required to generate the income for the business day to day. Or are you just somebody who wants to work 2-3 days a week? Because the vehicle to get you there is going to be entirely different. The equipment that you need to build that business is going to be entirely different. So once you know that end game, all the rest of it starts to play out. I get a lot of people contact me, or at least try and copy what we've done without contacting me, and they might aspire to running a certain type of business with a certain number of trucks. The common one is, I've asked people, like, what are you looking to do here? And their answer is, I want to get like X amount of people on the road and have a warehouse. And it's like, yeah, cool. Why? Oh, because like then I can get myself out of the business. Cool. So that's like a $2 to $3 million operation. How long are you looking to do that? Oh, probably in the next 3 years. Cool. So are you prepared to drop $200,000 to $300,000 on marketing to do that? Are you prepared to not draw a wage for the first 2 years? Because sometimes to build that kind of scale in service, that's what you need to do. So I found it particularly difficult to scale, beyond sort of 1.5 mil, because the business then starts to demand more of you as the owner or CEO. Admittedly, you're not on the tools, but you need a plan in place. So for us in our corporate location, I actually scaled back a little bit so I could make a smaller, more profitable operation. My end game is obviously to expand via a franchise network. I think there's a great opportunity in there to work with people and have win-wins. So my vision dictated that decision, the decision to say, hey, well, let's pump the brakes on this location, let's dial it in, and then grow via this modular expansion. So having a vision is really important, rather than just looking through the next day to day. And I think that's a thing that people trip up on. It also helps you push through if you've got a good vision of what life is meant to be like, or what your dream life is meant to be like. You can push through the tough times, and there's tons. Time horizon's a big thing as well, and this is a soft plug for franchising at Freshfront. There's a bunch of people that contact me asking with the same problems, and I can see our system solves that. It will solve it rapidly. Like, you could start on day one with those problems solved, instead of struggling on for years and years and years trying to battle through problems that have already been solved. So that's the opportunity of having a vehicle like that, which comes back to the next thing that you should think about is business model. Like, what the heck is your business model? Because another mistake I've seen is the business model in exterior cleaning is I'll take whatever comes my way. I'll add on services. I'll get a gutter cleaning machine. I'll do ceiling. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do commercial. I'll do residential. I'll do industrial. Those things don't contribute to your profitability. The more you spread yourself, what happens is the wider you spread yourself, the less systemized and predictable your business can be, which means it makes it harder to train people. Or if you choose to go solo, which is totally okay, it makes your day-to-day life more unpredictable because you don't know what's going to come up. You don't have a business model. And to me, in the exterior cleaning game, there's a commercial model, there's an industrial model, which is entirely different, and there's a couple of different residential models, and there's maybe some hybrids. But having a deliberate decision around what your business model is. For example, in residential, it's a lead generation business. You got to generate leads, convert them at the right ticket price, and then deliver through production, make sure people are satisfied, collect the money and have the systems in place to collect and make sure you're getting paid on time and the right numbers and whatnot. And then ideally get those customers back in. So you've got a baseline to then do that again and again and again. That's how you grow that business. Whereas a commercial business is probably more of a relationships business. You've got to build relationships. They're one-to-many contacts. You might be running at a lower margin, higher volume. You might have a different type of staff profile should you wish to scale staff. It's probably not something you can successfully do solo, unless you're really willing to, burn the candle at both ends. So once again, knowing the model dictates the answers to many of the questions that you'll have down the line. So I would take time to work out what your business model is. There's some cool things you can do. One thing's called like a business model canvas. If you look that up, it's kind of like a SWOT analysis where you find out strengths, weaknesses, competitors, what the opportunities are. Business models vary according to market, but I think you just have to think about that. With our particular business, I think a lot of people from the outside in think that it's something that they could just replicate themselves, which is entirely true, but our model has a lot of stuff in it that doesn't apply to the average solar operator because we've taken the time to design things and make particular choices and build systems. So think about your business model. The next one I would talk about, which is super important, is systems. So that is the playbook in which you operate your business model. Now that applies if you are a solo person running a truck by yourself, or you've got a team of 150 people. You need systems. And the weird thing is that every business has systems. They just may not be documented and refined. So what is a system? A system is an input with an output with an instruction process, and then I guess what I would call a cadence, so like when it happens, and then a checks and balances to make sure it's been done properly. So having systems in your business is, everyone rabbits on about it, and I don't think people understand it. They might think it's like software. Systems are the playbook for how to run your business. And like I keep saying, like I said, but even if you're solo and you don't have to train anyone, you still need a system. For example, when I wash a house, do I do this property protection? What do I look out for? You might know that off by heart, but that's still a system. They really do kick in when you want to scale things, and that's where people fall apart. The tragic story that I see and that I've experienced a lot is where a solo operator gets busy because they do awesome work and they're a great person and customers love them, and they're going hell for leather 7 days a week. One thing happens is they get the roller coaster effect, where they get super busy because they're on the tools, and then the work dries up and they have no work. And then they go find work and they get busy and the work dries up. That comes back to that cadence thing that I spoke about. Maybe there's a marketing system where you dedicate time and block time to keep generating leads and activity and work. But the tragic tale is that solo operator goes, oh shit, I'm flat out. Like, I got more work than ever. I'm going to get a bloke. I'll get another truck. I'll get a thing. I'll get a bloke in a truck and then he'll be able to do what I do. Or she. It never works. I've been there, I've done that. It never works. It ends in absolute tears. And here's why. Lack of systems. So, and it's a chain reaction. So you want to hire someone, you need to make sure all of your margins and pricing are on point so you can afford them. If you can't afford them, you won't get good people. You can't cheap out because they might damage things and cost you money. So you need to have a system for that. You need to have systems around training. How do you train this person, get them up to speed? How do you make them efficient? How do you make sure they're safe? How does that person know they're doing a good job or a bad job? Well, you need to create systems that replicate what you do. So you need all those checks and balances. Like I said, an input, an output, a documented process, a cadence, and a checks and balance that has been done properly. So without all of those things in place, putting a staff member into your service business goes to custard really quick. There are exceptions where you find unicorn people. Generally, they're people that you know that are willing to roll with the punches. But even at that, it creates a massive inefficiency. I had that early on, fortunately, but it took us like a year to get someone up to speed. So I lost money essentially for that period of time. It wasn't until we built really rock solid systems, checks and balances, how to train people, how to manage all the particulars and safety, and how to deal with customers. And that's a big thing as well, that we're able to now confidently train people really quickly. So the last people that we had come through was like a 30-day period, and they're out there doing the same work, the same quality, the same amount of 5-star reviews that the guys who are in the industry for many years, if not better, because they're supported by a team. So systems are really important. The bottleneck is when you're really busy and you're small, you have no time to do it. So how do you do it? You've got to be a little bit crazy if you want to build something up yourself, and you have to time block. Once again, soft pitch for franchising, they're all done for you. Now, not everyone is a good candidate for that. Some people do just want to build their own thing. But you've also got to think, if my vision, for example, is to attain a certain level of income or a certain structure in life, what's the fastest vehicle to get there? And 3 to 5 years down the track, what's life going to look like if I've already got the racing car built and I'm just winning the races with a pit crew behind me, versus me trying to win the Monaco Grand Prix whilst building the car, whilst driving the car, whilst building the engine and being the pit crew, because that's a small service business. That is why I franchised the business, because we've done that and it was incredibly painful. So I see an opportunity to help people. I see a financial opportunity as well, and we win by making sure they win. So systems are important. And that is a bit of a wank term that gets thrown around. The other thing with like going out to a business coach, they'll tell you the systems in a generic form that you can apply to your business. They're probably not going to build them all out for you. And also the systems that you build out will continually refine, particularly if you're small, you're going to keep changing them, chopping them and changing them. I'll give you an example. When I had just one staff member, we had no system for loading up our trucks because we just knew we were in tune. We knew what was coming up. We'd just get it done each day. We'd load up things in our little workshop and get moving. Once we added more team members, people were forgetting things. So the job I'm at today is like 2 hours away. It's financially worth that travel. It's not financially worth the travel if I have to go back because I forgot a product or I didn't bring the wand for the pressure cleaner. So we built me being an IT guy, built a very elaborate system that involved a QR code. You could check in, there was checklists. You could do it all on your phone. It was reported. There was a dashboard. We could see who had done, who hadn't done it. It was very impressive. I thought I was very cool. Guess what? Didn't get used. Why? Because it's very easy to just flick something on your phone and say you've done it. So we took that system and we went back to the drawing board. And you know what worked in the end? A laminated printout of a checklist that was stuck to a clipboard with a whiteboard marker. And we modified the system to say, do the checklist, sign it for accountability, and when it's done, hang it on this board. And when you come back in at the end of the day, do the checklist again, sign it, and put it on the windshield of the car with your name on it. So suddenly we created some accountability. You couldn't forget it, and it started to work, and things weren't getting lost. So that was an example of a lot of investment in a system that had to continually change. If you had that from day one, life would have been a lot different. So building systems is really time heavy, and it's not for everyone. Hence, that's why, I guess franchises do exist. So now the next really important thing that's overlooked is team. If you're going to win the race, you're going to win the Monaco Grand Prix, you need the team. So you might say, well, I don't want a team. I just want to do it solo. I don't want the stress of working with people. Fair enough. So who's going to answer the phone whilst you're out working? Who's going to do your books? Who's going to make sure that your accountants or your BAS statements are in place? Who's going to make sure you don't get hacked when you're sending invoices out to people with the wrong bank account details? Because that's happening quite a lot. So even if you're solo, you still need a team. You need people behind you. If you want to grow a business beyond yourself, to create an asset that will actually generate income without your direct involvement every day of every step of the way, you 100% need a team. So you need to take the time to build that out. If you are looking to build that structure, you might want to build an org chart of what the team could look like. I would dare to say if you were even doing it solo, you'd build a team. Who's doing the books? Who's helping with answering the calls? There's different ways to do it without hiring people as well. Some of it could be AI, some of it could be global talent, some of it could be outsourced services, but you need to understand that you need a team behind you. You might even need a business coach as well, someone who's been there, done it before you. I kind of ragged on them a little bit before in the system side of things, but definitely for mindset and accountability, like a business coach can be very good if you get the right person. One of the cool things about franchising our business is we get to build like the elite team. That's the really exciting thing. I get to build a team that is wholly and solely focused on skyrocketing these kind of businesses. And let me explain. You know, we're very small at the moment. We're just a emerging sort of concept. But the vision I have is, instead of, you know, your competition maybe using a marketing company who knows how to use social media but doesn't know the industry very well and has a bottleneck in producing content, versus our team, which has a full-time person doing that, pumping out content, watching ads, seeing the trends, capturing that. So that's like a high level, next level view. But definitely having a team behind you is so important. So take the time to at least acknowledge that. And it won't all happen at once either. If you're solo, you can't obviously have all these things, but if you know when you need to bring people in, that's really powerful. As you do grow as well, solo or larger scaled operation, replace yourself, fire yourself. At the Soft Wash Australia trade show a couple of years back, I spoke about that. That's how I grew my little business to where it was, by recognizing my weak points and firing myself out of them and hiring people in. So team is important. You need that pit crew. So hopefully that's got you thinking, it's inspired you. And this is where I do my final soft pitch for franchising. Joining us in our system, a lot of those kinks have been ironed out. We're not by no means perfect, but we have the model, the systems, the metrics, the team to get to success quicker. You could definitely work it out and do it yourself. It just takes longer. So you've got to think, if you've got the machine behind you on day one, what's life going to look like 3 years down the track versus not having that and going through the fire? As someone who's done that, I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. But if you are going to do that, you need to know that those things that I spoke about, at least those 5 in my head, that's kind of what you need to consider in a small service business. And the unique thing is, these kind of businesses aren't complex. It's a super simple business model a lot of the time. There's much more complex businesses out there, but the tricky thing about the service business, particularly exterior cleaning, it's a really simple business with a lot of moving parts. And if you don't have those structures in place, it can unravel really quick, or it can just get to a point where it's like, fuck this is not worth the pain and the effort. So hopefully that's been helpful. I'm going to spark this machine up and clean some stuff, and hopefully I can get back to the office and start building some systems, because you always have to keep refining and building. So take it easy, have a good day. Thanks for watching.
Maximum Booster.